AITA for forgetting to include my sister in my wedding? Story 1. Why? About a year and a half ago, my fiancée 28F and I 27F started planning our wedding. We wanted a small, intimate affair with only 65 guests, including the wedding party. My sister 30F, who stays across the country, was supposed to be my maid of honor, and she enthusiastically helped with the planning until she faced a serious health issue about a month ago. Due to her health problems, my sister was advised not to travel after her surgeries, which meant she would miss the wedding. After discussing it with my fiancé, I offered to postpone the wedding so my sister could attend, but she insisted we stick to our original plans because she knew how important they were to me. I told her that I would be replacing her as the maid of honor with my childhood friend, and she was perfectly okay with it. Fast forward to 2 days ago, our wedding day. Everything seemed perfect until I spotted my sister sitting with my parents during the ceremony. It turns out she had gotten clearance from her doctor to travel last minute and surprised us by showing up. I was really happy to see her. After the ceremony, she came over to talk to me and told me everything. Amidst all the hugs and congratulations, I completely forgot that we had not planned for her to be there. Due to the limited people at the wedding, we had strict seating charts and catered meals for everyone, as well as the wedding favors. It turns out my sister didn't get to eat that night and just ate a few of the table appetizers, which were very small. She also didn't have a proper chair, and one of the venue workers got her a completely mismatching one from elsewhere, and she had to squeeze in next to our cousin. The wedding party and us total 9 people all sat at the front of the hall on a long table, facing everyone. This morning, my sister calmly called and explained how excluded she felt at the wedding. I told her that yes, we didn't have extra favor seats because of how strictly we budgeted for it. She understood but also felt that I could have been more inclusive by asking her to sit at the bridal table since she was originally supposed to be a mo, or getting her a meal. She felt very judged the whole night, and the least I could do was try to include her after she flew all the way down. I apologized profusely because, had I not been so caught up with everything, I would definitely try to get her a meal from somewhere. But I also explained to her that she wouldn't have been able to sit with the wedding party as we had a color scheme that she didn't match, and that she should know how detailed the guest list was for favor seats. The conversation got quite heated, and she said, "Well, I guess it would have been better for you if I was still bedridden and I didn't come at all," and abruptly hung up the phone, though I know that line was probably an emotional outburst because of how hurt she was. AITA for not including my sister at my wedding? Feel free to ask for any missing info. Our advice. It sounds like you were caught in a difficult situation where circumstances changed unexpectedly. It's understandable that you were focused on the details of your wedding day and might have overlooked your sister's inclusion, especially given the strict seating arrangements and budget constraints. However, it's important to acknowledge your sister's feelings and understand why she felt excluded. She made a significant effort to attend your wedding despite her health issues, and it's natural for her to feel hurt if she didn't receive the expected level of consideration. In hindsight, it would have been ideal to make some accommodations for your sister, such as arranging for a meal and finding a suitable seat for her. While it's understandable that you were preoccupied with the logistics of the event, showing empathy and making efforts to include her would have been appreciated. Apologizing to your sister and expressing regret for the oversight is a good first step. It's also important to have an open and honest conversation with her about her feelings and how you can make amends. Acknowledge her perspective, validate her feelings, and assure her that you value her presence and want to make things right. Ultimately, weddings are meant to be joyous occasions where loved ones come together to celebrate, and it's unfortunate that your sister felt excluded on such an important day. Moving forward, strive to foster understanding and inclusion in your relationship with her. First comment. AITA. A last-minute extra guest at a small wedding is not trivial. Your mom or other relatives should have figured it out for you, as obviously your mind is highly preoccupied during your own wedding. If it had been me as a last-minute surprise guest, I would have eaten before arriving. If I was the mom, I would have split my food with her, as would anyone else in our family. If seating was a problem, any one of us would get up and give up our seat, even if it meant standing or taking turns sitting. Weddings are supposed to be about sharing joy with the couple and family. Though I do wonder about your comment about not matching well enough to sit at your table. That shouldn't have even mattered. Second comment. NTA. Day. My dad had told me he wasn't coming to my wedding. Fine. Day before comes and my mom and I are setting up the venue, making place settings, etc. I mentioned having an extra set of stuff that would have been for my dad, but that I guess we didn't need it anymore. My mom finally mentioned that my dad wanted to surprise me by showing up for my wedding. He had gotten into town earlier in the week and told her, but not me. He's lucky I knew, so that we had a spot for him, but if he hadn't have tried to get her in on his weird grand gesture, then he wouldn't have even had a place to sit. That's what happens when you say you can't go. People plan for you not to be there. Story 2. AITA for not letting my 6 brother have the free first-class upgrade the airline gave me on our 12-hour flight. Not the a-hole. Hello AITA, we are at the beginning of my dad's retirement family trip. He is paying for all of us to meet as a family in Hawaii for a week since he is retiring after working at the same company for 42 years. There are 6 of us, but my brother and I live in the same part of the country. I guess it's relevant to say I am 5A and my brother is 6A. I fly all the time for work and have quite a bit of status with the airline for which my dad bought our tickets. This is what happened way earlier today. We were all boarded and ready to go when a flight attendant came up to me and whispered that they had a first-class passenger not show up and they needed the coach seat to accommodate a standby passenger. She said I had by far the most status of anyone on the plane, so they were willing to move me to first class for free. I was like, oh yeah, and I took it in a heartbeat. I told my brother I'd see him in 12 hours and let me know if he wanted any food or drink, and I grabbed my stuff and moved. Needless to say, I had a nice flight. When we landed and were waiting for our shuttle, my brother was so pissy, but wouldn't tell me what was going on. He didn't speak to me the whole shuttle ride. We had a nice hello with the rest of the family, but after I got down from my shower, my mom took me aside and said what I did was awful. I asked her what she was talking about, and she said that I should have given my brother the seat. I thought that would be the end of it, but all 5 of my siblings and my parents are upset with me, and the vacation is off to a very rough start. I was trying to play with my niece and nephew in the lobby waiting for lunch, and my sister said no. They only like to play with people who give a shit about their family. What were you thinking? I asked her if this was about the first class thing, and she said, what do you think it's about? I said that he never asked me to switch with him. She said an asshole makes people beg. Family members don't. I've been by myself since brunch and not having much fun. AITA? Edit. Wow, this totally blew up. Thank you for commenting, everyone. I only saw my family for a little bit yesterday, and they were still mad at me to varying degrees. I have a really good friend that lives here in the military, so she hung out with, and we met some really fun and cute guys at a dive bar. So my vacation will be great no matter what. But reading your comments really gave me the confidence to not give a crap or try to at least thank you. Our advice. Based on the situation you described, it sounds like you were not the asshole NTA. You were offered a free first-class upgrade due to your frequent flyer status, and you accepted it without any malice towards your brother. It's understandable that your brother might have been disappointed, but he didn't ask you to switch seats, and you shouldn't be expected to read his mind. It's unfortunate that your family is upset with you over this, especially considering it was a gesture made by the airline and not something you intentionally did to slight your brother. It's also unfair for your family to make you feel guilty for enjoying a perk that was offered to you. It might be helpful to have a calm and open conversation with your family to explain your perspective and reassure them that you didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings. Ultimately, it's important to remember that you shouldn't be made to feel guilty for accepting a legitimate offer, especially when it comes to something as trivial as seat upgrades on a flight. Enjoy your vacation and try not to let this dampen your experience too much. First comment. I think it is up to the airlines and sometimes the specific flight attendant. I also travel for work and sometimes get upgraded. I have asked if I can let my family member have the seat, and once got the answer not officially or not if we know. So I knew she was saying they're not going to ask for the name again when the person shows up to sit up front and the seat assigned to me in the back needed to be the empty one. I've done this without official permission at least 3 times. I also once heard a man sitting behind me in first class ask the flight attendant if his wife partner in the back could come swap with him or take turns. He got some variant of yes as long as. I couldn't hear everything he said in response, but he was arguing with her until finally the flight attendant said, "Sir, if it's easier for you if I just say no, then no." In this case, NTA times a million. But it can be done if you just do it. They don't have time to get all worked about how the seat gets filled and the other gets emptied. Second comment. NTA. They? Is your brother incapable of F-king speaking? If he wanted something, he should have said so. You have your perks as a result of how frequently you travel. If you had been offered this as an option for you and your brother and ditched him, that would be a total move. You got bumped, he did not. That's not your call, and even if it were, why the FTA is your family all pissy for something an airline did for you? How petty and childish are these people? He knows exactly how tall he is. He knows exactly what he needs to feel comfortable when traveling, as does every other adult. If he needs more, pay for it. Don't expect it to be handed out. He can't assume to be entitled to perks and awards you have earned because he happened to be traveling with you.